Hi, this is Mike from BandLab's. With BandLab's included instruments and effects, you can make any kind of music you like. In this video, we'll show you how to make a Moombahton beat with bumping drums, big bass, and intense synths. You can open this project yourself with the link in the video description. And if you find this guide useful, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be the first to know when new videos drop. I start by setting the project tempo to 100 beats per minute, and the project key to E minor. The first thing I want to do is make a drum kit. I open BandLab's Sounds, click the One Shots tab, and enter Moombahton Kick into the text search field. I like the sound of Matthew Blap Kick. I create a new sampler track and drag the kick onto the first sample pad. I then search for Moombahton snare. Paddy blank snare sounds cool, but it has an extra kick at the start of the sound that I don't really need. So I drag it onto the second sample pad and set the sample start marker at the start of the snare. Now when I play the sound, it will just play the snare. I then search for Moombahton hat. Hush Child Hat 6 is the sort of sound I'm looking for. So I drag it onto the third sample pad. I sequence kicks on each beat of the first bar. I then add snares on the 4th, 7th, 12th, and 15th 16th notes. I then add hats on each beat, with an extra hat on the 16th note after the third beat. I duplicate this bar out for the rest of the 4-bar clip. To duplicate notes or clips in BandLab, hold Option on Mac or Alt on Windows and drag them over. To give us more headroom to add other elements to the mix, I set this track to -3 dB. BandLab's Sounds includes ready-made Moombahton sounds, so I'm going to use one to provide me with some inspiration for the rest of the track. I click the Packs tab and enter Moombahton into the text search field. I open the Moombahton pack and drag Tropica Rave Synth 03 into the project. I set this track to -1 dB to balance it with a drum beat. I feel like this fits well, and next I'd like to add a bassline. I create a virtual instrument track and set it to leads, G-Funk Sign. I set this track to -3 dB. I sequence a simple bass line that plays B and E. Now I'd like to add a rhythm synth part. I create another virtual instrument track and set this one to leads, dance lead. I set this track to -1.5 dB. I sequence a part that plays between each beat, and like the bass line, this plays B for the first 3 bars, then E on the last bar. At the end of the second and fourth bars, I drop the note down an octave, and this gives the part a little variety that stops it from sounding too repetitive. I'd like another synth to help build up the arrangement, so I drag Tropica Rave Synth 02 into the project. I'd like to spice this part up a touch too, so I place the playhead at the start of the 4th bar, right-click and select Slice. Alternatively, you can press the S key. This slices the clip into 2. I double-click the second slice to bring up the editor panel, then bring the pitch parameter down to -12 to pitch it down an octave. Now I want some sound effects to create an intense, carnival atmosphere. I drag Tropica Misc Synth 03 to the start of the sequence. This is a classic reggaeton air horn that will really hype up the feel of the track. I drag Moombahton FX 03 into the project too. This is a full-on riser that will help keep the track energized. With all of these elements in place, I'm ready to arrange the project. The arrangement starts with the drums in Rave Synth. I use the sound effects throughout the track to keep the energy level up. On bar 5, the rhythm synth is introduced. On bar 9, the bass drops. On bar 17, the second rave synth is added. On bar 25, both rave synths leave the mix. On bar 33, we have a stripped back outro with just drums and bass. Remember, you can fork this project and make your own version of it using the link in the video description. Have fun!